in pre-open with decent volume. So that's going to be an important stock. Yes, I mean, that's it for now. Let's see how things open up. Mayuresh Joshi is also with us. From
Oil country is up. I guess all those cane or
yes,
ONGC, Oil India kind of stocks. Sorry,
yes.
Please go ahead.
Yes, Mayuresh Joshi of Angel is also with us. Mayuresh, good morning. First, your thoughts on the new listing of the day, ICICI Prudential. How do you expect that to pan out? And your view on ICICI Bank?
Morning, Anuj. I think with the response that we've seen for the IPO, yes, expecting a positive response to come through. And there are no complaints prima facie. I think if you look at the persistency ratios, close to 82.5%, the solvency ratio 320%, the new business premiums have actually improved 52.5% on a year-on-year basis, from 15 to 16 to 412 crores. The net new business margins have improved from 5.7% to 8%. So largely, I think the business improvement has been all round for ICICI Pru as an entity. But again, I think if you look at the core business verticals, I think ULIPs still account for lion's share. And if you look at the embedded value at the current juncture, you're probably looking at a price to book at 3.4 times at the higher end of the range. So clearly, I think expecting a positive listing to come through, but what happens with numbers going ahead and their plans to probably go for non-ULIP products will be key for their success going ahead. What this probably does to ICICI Bank, Anuj, I think with the earlier dilution that had happened and the current enterprise value that you're probably getting, the value per share specifically from ICICI Pru on ICICI Bank's balance sheet probably goes up a tad bit. But largely, I think the performance for ICICI Bank will be how their advances grow over FY18 and 19, because to a large part of FY17, our own take is a 14-15% growth, though retail probably is growing at a much faster clip. But because of asset quality pressures being recognized on the balance sheet in FY17, credit costs staying extremely high for the better part of the next 3 quarters, our own sense is that the NIMs will still get constrained. So you'll see sequential improvement happening on a year-on-year basis in FY18. So I'm maintaining a positive view on ICICI Bank as an entity. But I think ICICI's Pru listing, in my opinion, will be positive. But the numbers here on will be very, very interesting to gauge what kind of re-rating the markets give to the stock.
Will you buy it at 334?
Not at the current juncture, as I said, because I think, in our opinion, again, at 3.4 times, it is on the higher side. So I think we'll wait for declines.
I was a little intrigued by the 30-month persistency ratios. They were very low at about 16 or something. If I don't remember the numbers, but they did show a sudden jump in the last year. So that was a little worrisome, but these are complicated things. Maybe some single premiums expired, I don't know. But let me get to the stock that's doing extremely well now. Reliance is the one that's leading, yes. But iShares was almost the one that was leading up until a second ago. What's your take on iShares?
Look at the iShares journey, Lata. What is interesting is that it's made a journey from 70 crore to 70,000 crore market cap, 1,000 times in a matter of 16 years. And in that, what stands out is 70 to 700, 10 bagger, 6 years. 700 to 7,000, 10 bagger, 6 years. And the biggest journey from 7,000 to 70,000, actually the quickest, 4 years.
My God.
This is the magic of compounding. This is the power of compounding. I know all this looks good in hindsight. The question now is
power of performance.
Power of performance. The question now is, what is the next 70 crore, which will become 70,000 crore? But leave that aside. I think the lesson from Eicher Motors has been, and for last 2 or 3 years, I've been now hearing that now that the base effect has moved up for Eicher Motors, can they continue to deliver? And they continue to deliver 40% sales growth every month, month after month. This has been phenomenal. And I tell you something, 3 months back, we had Rajiv Bajaj on channel saying that, look, we are #1 in market cap. Keep an eye. I mean, Rajiv Bajaj might well look over his shoulder, because this guy is catching up. Siddharth Lal, 70,000 crore now, 84,000 is Bajaj's market cap. Hero's been left behind at 69,000 crores. And one more lesson that the market has given here. This big rally in iShares started, the last round of rally started on the day Rajiv Bajaj came on the channel and has said, I'm launching a challenger to Royal Enfield.
Exactly, yeah.
The market saying, you're welcome. You come into this market, but our confidence is with this guy. You're only going to expand the market, and in that case, the market leader is only going to eat more market share. The similar thing played out with Maruti and is now playing out with Eicher Motors. So I think in that there's a bit of a lesson of, picking a leadership stock in a good sector and then staying with that, because from 70 to 700 crore, I put it out on Twitter yesterday. There were a lot of people who bought, for example, at 25, 30, sold at 100, sold at 200 because it's become 10 baggers, sold at 500, sold at 1000. But the biggest rally, the biggest wealth is created in the last run of this multi-bagger phase, which is like 77,000 crore to 70,000 crore, because in that case your initial investment really multiplies, and that's what's happened with Eicher Motors.
Yes, no two ways about it. This is excellent analysis, Anuj, and maybe you would do one for Bajaj Finserv as well, Bajaj Finance as well. I think it was 100 rupees 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Yes, Bajaj Finance.
I'm just saying 100, exactly. It would be much more. Yes, I'm just adjusting it to the stock split.
And again, even for Bajaj Finance, I think return on equity plays a long part in some of these stocks. You could look at the near-term valuation and crib about them, or you could look at the return on equity and say that, okay, the stocks deserve to be where they are.
Okay, maybe you should ask Ashwini an easy question. The next Eicher Motors, Ashwini?
See, going by this strategy, you have a very simple way of looking at the next Eicher Motors. Any stock that has doubled in the last 1 year, chances are will double several times. Often people look at stocks which haven't moved. If you find stocks which have doubled, don't be scared of them. Invest into them, because chances are that there is some value that is going to get appreciated. I think Bajaj Finance is going the way of Eicher Motors. Even now, if you buy, at 1,000 current levels, can easily become 10,000 again.
Okay, that's very, very handy advice. Ashwini, coming back to you for the call of the day. But first, we get back to Manoj. Manoj, your stock strategies?
Yeah, Lata, this is expiry. So purely intraday, I guess the call metal as a sector, I guess Tata Steel has shown good traction. We've seen good buying. That averages happened between 368 to 372, and I guess yesterday's close is around 380. We can still buy that. The stock has good long built up, so we expect the strategy here will be to buy Tata Steel at 380, keep a stop loss of 368, and immediate target close to 402 is what we're expecting in that. The DVR, as a Tata Motor DVR, is another stock that we feel seen good delivery based buying and can possibly come into the positive VWAP or the buying which we are seeing in the Nifty since yesterday. So 340 is a strike, is a price where we reckon buying that. 329 as a stop loss, and the target would be somewhere close to 358 on that.
Okay, let's discuss some more stocks. Mitesh, you track the F&O stocks and this expiry related pulls and pressures. Anything that you would want to watch out for last hour of trade?
I think that call I would take possibly sometime during the noon, but as a sector, I think what is really appealing is the PSU banks. I think after good consolidation, we did see strong breakouts taking place in Canara Bank, PNB, OBC, etc. So leave out the State Bank of India, but otherwise, I think the banks just below that, I think are showing a lot of promising technical patterns.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Mitesh. Mayuresh, very quickly, I wanted to ask you one more set of stocks that have done well. The pharma stocks, especially mid-cap pharma. Anything that your company is backing?
No, luckily, Lata, I think we did like Aurobindo Pharma at lower levels, but the moment has been too sharp in the last few days itself. And the business model still exists for Aurobindo Pharma, both in terms of the market size in the ARV business, as well as their high margin injectable business, which the company probably expects to launch a few products on that line. Secondly, I think that two acquisitions are doing extremely well for them. Actavis and Natrol are contributing significantly in terms of EBITDA as well as bottom line. And third, I think the strong A&DA pipeline that the company itself possesses. So our own sense is that a 15-16% growth on the top line is not ruled out. So anybody holding on to the top tier pharma names or a name like Aurobindo Pharma at lower levels should continue holding.
Okay, I think we have, we should be getting an all-important company joining us very soon. Someone who's going to benefit from the launch of commodity futures. We'll do that in a minute. Ashwini, your 9:15 call?
See, PNB can be bought with a stop of 142, target of 156.
Okay, that's a top
Actually,
conviction.
yeah, sorry. In that vein, Sudarshan, is there any public sector bank you are backing?
Canara Bank is something that is a buying opportunity, and the sense is that it's going higher, although I'm surprised. Shriram Transport Finance in the private sector NBFCs is an opportunity for today as well as for the next few days.
Mitesh, before we hit market opening, your big stock has been MRF. You've been having a target of 52,000, but would you now wait for dip before buying a fresh? And for those holding on your call, should they carry it forward?
No, I think, stronger bull markets do see stock overshoot price target. I think that's just a measuring target which I could figure out on the chart. So in that sense, I think holding may not be a bad idea. The only thing is that it's quite overbought. So fresh buying I will not do right now. If somebody wants to hold on, just below 48,000 would be an ideal stop loss for, hoping that the short-term trend remains on the upside.
Okay, that's a fair point. Well, actually, I wanted to ask that to Mayuresh as well. Mayuresh, all the tyre stocks ran. You're running after which?
I was running after tyre stocks a few months back, but the moment again there has been too sharp.
No, I agree with you, but I'm just wondering if any of them were still worth backing. And public sector banks, are you all looking for any value there?
No, again, largely, Lata, I think as we see the positioning at this point of time, the larger private sector banks still look far more appealing, both in terms of the expectations of a strong balance sheet. Capital adequacy has been extremely strong for them. And thirdly, I think if you're expecting the credit growth to start picking up, as a lot of analysts on the street are by Q3, Q4, I think the larger private sector banks are in a much sweeter spot, and their exposure itself to retail is quite large. Secondly, I think the corporate exposure of a few large private sector banks, as I was mentioning, should start bottoming out in terms of asset quality pressures. So though public sector banks might look attractive, especially the larger public sector ones, the smaller and mid-tier public sector banks still are having issues related to capital adequacy, which will not be enough to fuel their balance sheet growth. And even if the government starts pumping in money, I think it will be still some amount of time before their balance sheet growth actually starts exhibiting in numbers. So I think still backing larger private sector banks at this point of time.
No, I think that is an open secret. The government has said that they are not going to back banks that are not showing growth or not showing any improvement, but they will not let the capital adequacy fall below Basel levels or minimum required levels. So they'll just allow them to survive. Yeah, but growth capital, they have to prove that they can grow.
Yeah, just one more word. A couple of liquor stocks like Global Spirits are doing well, so just keep an eye on them. Ashwini, for those who are tuning in just now, would you want to repeat your top conviction call for the morning?
PNB can be bought with a stop around 142, target of 156.
Okay, well, that's of course the morning call. Just about 40 seconds left for markets to open. Sudarshan, for Nifty trader, for compulsive Nifty trader, what's the trade if the Nifty opens at 87.92?
Well, you wait for a few minutes, 15 minutes gap, and then consider buying it. A rally towards 88.30 is quite possible.
Okay. Fair point. Today it does look like the market is in a ferociously bullish mood. About 0.5% higher is where the Sensex and the Nifty might start. At the moment, actually, all indices are evenly placed, and all of them are about 0.5% in the green. And we should know very soon whether they will be able to maintain that kind of rigor. Advanced declines, of course, will therefore be positive. Okay, it is 87.90, so the markets opened where they promised they would in pre-market and heading towards 8,800 with some stability, you will have to say. They've not given up that hold. Eicher Motors, the stock that we just extolled with some excellent explanations from Anuj, is leading the pack with about 2% in terms of gains. ONGC, naturally the big gainer, and maybe we should pull up Kane and Vedanta as well in the same vein. Maybe Oil India. All these are guys who are going to benefit from the bullish note that has come from Algiers, from the OPEC guys who are looking to cut their production. Hero Motor 1%, Bosch 1%, SBI 1%, Yes Bank 1%, Coal India, Z Entertainment, Bank of Baroda, Bajaj Auto, all of them, almost 0.9 to 1% higher. The market is jumping up on several shoulders, you will have to say. Even a bunch of 0.7, 0.8% gainers, Tata Motors, BHEL, Adani Ports, ICICI Bank, GAIL, all of them up about 0.7%. In fact, hardly any losers, just about 2 or 3, and I would say most of them are flat. Wipro is down 0.5%, and I think Cipla. No, actually, there's only one Wipro which is down 0.5%. The rest of them will count as flat to in the green, and 8,800 is almost here.
Yeah, and I think the Kotak block has taken place. That was, of course, always expected. The issue here is, does the green shoe also get executed, or is it only the amount of original equity that ING planned to sell? So that block, 4.7 crore shares have been sold in multiple blocks, of course, at an average price of about 784. So that's, of course, the interesting bit. Let's talk about some mid-caps before I toss it to Manisha for the big guest of the day. Of course, all the liquor stocks are doing well, so that's the first space to watch out for, led by Global Spirits. That's up about 7%. MCX is up about 7% right now. UB Holdings is up 6%. Tilaknagar Industries up 5%. Radico Khaitan up about 3%. So all in all, looks like a good start. Ashwini, very quickly, your thoughts on the market opening, 87.95.
Well, it has gapped up, but maybe not enough to have a trend day. So for the moment, the first bar that you see is not a very wildly bullish bar. So we'll have to see if we are able to take out the highs of today. But overall, I think we are more likely to be range bound than to be in a greatly trending market for the day.
Greatly trending higher has clearly been MCX. We should pull that 2-month chart or a 1-month chart of MCX. When Manisha saw it coming, she was the first one to tell us that options trading is set to begin. And yesterday, SEBI actually took that big leap and announced in the first anniversary of the merger of the FMC into SEBI the launch of commodities options trading. And the person who will benefit most from that, or the entity that will benefit most, is MCX. They are joining us now. Mrigank Paranspe, the Managing Director and CEO of MCX, joins us. Over to you, Manisha.
Thank you so much for that, Lata, and many congratulations, Mrigank, because I believe this really seems to be like an excellent year for you. First of all, your thoughts on how ready is the exchange for the options trading? I mean, of course, it has been incoming. There have been various meetings on this.